No way, Jose.
The following footage proves beyond any doubt that the tanks intentionally set the house on fire. It proves that the Branch Davidians were murdered. You can see that this tank has a gas jet on the front that shoots fire. You can also see the fire quite plainly. The tank goes into the house twice, and each time as it backs out, the fire at the gas jet is plainly visible.
We must all do more to recognize and look for the early warning signals that deeply troubled young people send.
What is up, guys? Sorry, my cats are being crazy in the background. Hey, if you didn't show up for my last live stream, this may be a little bit jarring for you, this setup. Well, I had a new idea, and this was kind of brought on by Hurricane Helene, or whatever the fuck her name is. Somebody says show me your tits. Here you go. I figured I'd start doing every once in a while, when available, these sort of morning streams, because I have a weird schedule. And Helene kind of made it work better, because essentially I'm losing days of work due to Hurricane Helene, and I am working hourly, but it's like I have plenty of time through the nature of my job, where it's like some days I'll just have days off because just there's not work that day. And so then I'm home alone. My wife usually works nights, so most of the time she's out and about, so I can't use my normal streaming area. So I have this outdoor area, this like family room area, and I'm gonna start. I figured, just every now and then when I have these days off, which is probably roughly about once a week, every other week, I'll probably start doing these morning streams. So fairly irregularly, but probably just kind of go over recent articles. Kind of for those of you who watch Timeline Cleanse with Raven, I think it'd probably be something similar to that, but like a more a more serious version. I mean, we'll have goofing around if there's funnies to be had, but like, for example, like I was just kind of looking through the topics I have, and I don't know if we'll hit them all. I got some Ryan Ralphs type stuff. I got what else I got? Spooky weird Fed story. Talk about some OKC stuff, and then also some Israel stuff. So just so you get an idea of kind of the vibe I'm going for. You guys feel free to give me input on these, what you guys think. I think I may put, I'm debating whether I want to put these up on as actual podcasts or just streams. I don't know. Let me know you guys' thoughts. I feel a little bad because I do try to give my patrons some sort of value, so that's why I usually give you guys like early content. But for this, it's like the whole purpose of these is just they're thrown together last moment. It's just kind of, I have some time on my hands. I don't know when these are going to be available. Usually it's just random when I'm like, oh, shit, don't have work this day. So it's like, it's not something I can like plan. Usually most of my podcasts, when I have a guest or a topic, the rare time I do a solo episode, usually it's like I plan a good week at least in advance and kind of prep the content. That's very rare. But even when I have a guest, I usually, ahead of time, and then I'll, kind of prep myself for it. Then this is like, I just have like a bookmark folder now in my Twitter where I'm just kind of like morning stream ideas. So that might be things like articles I've read that I found interesting, or articles that I just haven't read yet, and I want to look through with you guys, and just stuff that I find interesting. Let's be real, most of the time it's just going to be Ken Silva stuff, which, by the way, he will be coming on Thursday, but that won't be available for another week unless you guys are, unless you're a pay pig. But yeah, he'll be coming on. We'll be talking about the Ryan Ralph stuff, kind of more updates on the earlier stuff. the first thing. He's still following the thread of the first assassination attempt. So, we have that. Also kind of want to touch on like the, because everyone was, latched onto Iran, including Trump. So, yeah, we will be kind of covering how legit that is, because I believe he's covered that quite intensively. So I'll have him on. Also tonight, I do have on Already Dead with me and Austin's live stream show. Keep in mind it's a call-in, so you guys feel free to call in. But we have William Ramsey on tonight with us. So he's I saw Ken. Oh, no, you actually got that entirely wrong, buddy. Got Tyler here from Libertarian Podcast Review said, I saw Ken posted that he put Rout pled guilty. That's not true. We'll actually... you know what? Fuck it. We'll go ahead and bring that one up right now. I'll go ahead and that'll be the first thing I cover. Yep, right here. Boom. You guys can see that. So I can find this tab. I got too many damn tabs up. All right. Ryan Routh pleads not guilty to attempting to assassinate Trump. A man who authorities say staked out Donald Trump for 12 hours on his golf course in Florida and wrote of his desire to kill him pled not guilty to a slate of charges on Tuesday. Ryan Wesley Routh had been initially charged with 2 federal firearms offenses. Last Tuesday, the Justice Department announced a 5-count indictment in which Routh is also charged with attempted assassination. According to the court docket, Routh only spent about 3 minutes in court on Tuesday. I don't know how meaningful that is. I've literally never been in court. Tyler might be able to. This is for the indictment. So, I don't know. Maybe it's normal to just read that off real quick. Yeah, I don't know. Tyler can let me know if I'm on the right path there. Oops, I accidentally closed out. There we go. All right. Pled not guilty. And it seems like that's all to it. The arraignment. Defendant was advised on charges and possible maximum penalties. Defendant waived formal reading of the indictment. Entered a plea not guilty. Demanded trial by jury. Requested the court issue the standing discovery order. Total time in court, 3 minutes. Yeah, all right. That was quick as fuck. They show that the case has been assigned to Eileen Cannon, a Trump-appointed federal judge who in July dismissed a criminal case charging Trump with illegally hoarding classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. Initial charges Routh faced in a criminal complaint accused him of illegally possessing his gun in spite of multiple federal or felony convictions and with possessing a firearm with an obliterated serial number. It is common for prosecutors to bring preliminary and easily provable charges upon arrest and then add more serious offenses later as the investigation develops. FBI said at the outset that it was investigating the episode as an apparent assassination attempt, but the absence of an immediate charge to that effect opened the door for Florida's Republican Governor Ron DeSantis to announce his own state-level investigation that he said could produce more serious charges. Yeah, for those who aren't aware, yes, DeSantis did announce he wants to do his own, state-level investigation, which I think is a good thing. Not that I have a whole lot of trust in government in general, not even old Ronnie. Although he's been, I'll say he's generally been better. He definitely was a bit of a Zionist, but whatever. He flubbed over in the election, so who cares? At least on the federal side of things, on the state side of things. I guess I'd prefer he wasn't a Zionist, but whatever. If you're running the state, not a big deal. Although he has pushed a lot of like was it the non-boycotting shit? I forget what they call that. And then also a lot of just like anti-Semitism shit, I believe, has been pushed through in Florida, like. Although I might be wrong on that. That's just shit I recall. So, I guess there's still downsides to having a Zionist at a state level, but it's not as big of a deal if they're not running your foreign policy. But yeah, they said last Monday that authorities who searched Routh's car found 6 cell phones, which is ridiculous. Who has that many fucking cell phones? That's sketchy. Hell, even if you're a drug dealer, like 2 or 3 maybe? Unless, I don't know. I guess I've never been a drug dealer. Including one that showed a Google search of how to travel from Palm Beach County to Mexico. Notebook found in his car was filled with criticism of the Russian and Chinese governments and notes about how to join the war on behalf of Ukraine. In addition, prosecutors have cited a book authored by Routh last year in which he lambasted Trump's approach to foreign policy. Fuck, I totally forgot that asshole has a cat wheel. I may have to go lock that real quick because you guys are going to be able to hear that, and it's also going to drive me nuts. All right, I'll be right back. 1 second. Well, never mind, he stopped. All right, well, I'll deal with that later. Hopefully I can get him to not... No, fucking asshole. All right, All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. My wife got a cat wheel for this dickhead. We have one cat that's kind of still in like his teenage years, just likes to fucking fuck with everything. And my wife thought it'd be cool to get him a fucking cat wheel, and all that really does is just make it so he's incredibly loud and annoying every time you want to do anything. Like as soon as me and the wife try to have some sort of conversation, immediately jumps on. He's a dick. All right. Whew. Okay, I'm back. Let's get back to this Ryan Rail stuff. You guys can hear me fine, right? I see you guys in the chat. I don't see you guys interacting with me. Well, I don't know. I guess you do. You guys are. No one's bitching about anything. But let me know if anything sounds bad. I thought it'd be bad. In the last stream, I just assumed wide open space, more echoey and stuff. I mean, I guess, sure, probably this isn't ideal, but it is what it is. So if you guys have any issues with this, let me know. This setup. I mean, I'm doing what I can. All right, you go. By the way, I got Gray Pilled in the chat. He's just so you guys, if you guys don't know, he's our producer over in Already Dead. He pops in sometimes, talks. But all right, let's get back to this Ryan Rouse story. All right. In addition, prosecutors have cited a book. Okay, we already talked about the book. In the book, he wrote that Iran was free to assassinate Trump for having left the nuclear deal. Meanwhile, Routh's son, Orrin Routh, was arrested last week on child porn charges. The FBI raided Routh's home in connection to his father's alleged assassination plot, purportedly finding child pornography on the son's devices in the process. I'm probably supposed to use a different word so I don't get dinged by YouTube here, but oh well. Yeah, we talked about this on Already Dead last week. Yeah, it is wild that maybe it wasn't Already Dead. I think so. But yeah, it's pretty fucking nuts. This guy got very much parallels the stuff that went on with the Vegas shooting. Because for those who aren't aware, with the Vegas shooting, the brother of the alleged Vegas shooter, he got charged with it, and I believe the Vegas shooter himself did as well. So. I don't know. I mean, yes, I guess, sure, maybe these people all just happen to do it, or maybe there's some ulterior motive where, oh, wow, this is weird. This drops out of the sky. It's also one of those, charges that, if you're some federal agency, it'd be super easy to frame someone with. All right, a detention hearing for Orrin is set for Tuesday. Yeah, that's the end of that one. Let's pop in, see what you guys have to say. See Rich here. Just don't wake your wife because she'll beat your ass. Yeah, I think I'll be all right. I was actually quieter in the last episode because my kids were home too and they were in the other room, so I didn't think they really wanted to hear all my bullshit. She's got like a fan. She's very much a white noise person. So yeah. See, someone says, there you go. I should call it CP. There you go. Arcane Arsenal says CP is a digital version of planning drugs. Yeah, 100%. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm not a tech nerd. Maybe there's ways that you can tell when somebody does that, but to me, not knowing anything about tech, that sounds super duper easy for some fucking nerd to fuck your life over. See if there's anything else in here worth. Yeah, you guys talking about the hurricane. Yeah, it's weird with the hurricane. I'm telling you, it's fucking up my work because essentially my work site's down and stuff right now. It's weird. I know a lot of people who are near me that's having a lot of issues, but I guess it was the storm surges that really did it. Where I'm at, I literally was just a little bit of rough wind and some rain, just light rain. The rain wasn't even really that bad. When I get a lot of rain here, my property floods, not floods, I have a couple acres, where the house is doesn't, but kind of around the edges does. Cause it's my house is built, it's almost like they built the house on an elevation compared to the rest of the property. So I do get kind of little rivers running through my property. I didn't really get any of that. I got a little bit of a puddle in the front yard, but that's about it. But I guess I live more in the sticks, although I'm still not that far from the coast, but it seems like people north and south of me, I guess it seems like people closer to the coast really got fucked. So where I'm at in the country here, it's pretty much fine. I've driven around and stuff, no issues, but I'm hearing everyone that's 45 minutes away, either way, whether it's north or south, closer to the coast from me, that are bitching. So I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. It really is it's just odd because it really was not, for me, it was very much a light or a nothing. So I was like, oh, cool. We'll just go right back to normal. Nothing happened right after. My power flickered for a second and then it came back on almost immediately. So I don't know. No complaints on my side of things. I just like to be able to get some money. yeah, Juice did this. Yeah, I mean, we got a weather control, stuff now. So, oh yeah, I see. Cool mic stand. Yeah, you're a nerd, Tyler. So you let me know. I don't even really know. I've looked. I feel like I've looked before. What do I even do here? Because I mean, I'm not gonna like take my arm and like remove it from my other setup and then have to set it back up. It's just too much of a pain in the ass to do that every time. It's almost easier just to hold this thing. So I don't know. Is there like things Is there like a smaller mini stand I could get? I don't know. I'll have to. You look into it, or you tell me. You probably know offhand. I am not the tech guy. That is yours. You got Rich saying really digging these morning streams. Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I mean, this is only the second one, so. Yeah, great build. Harp. Yep, harp. All right, here's what the one I actually did kind of want to lead off with, and I think I talked about this in Already Dead, and I know this feels cringy, but it is what it is. I wanted to bring up, I guess this is also just kind of like a thank you to you guys, the patrons, I guess not you guys, not all of you fucking, all of you help out, but the ones who give me money, which by the way, I am on Rumble right now, so if you don't want to do super chat, feel free. But I mean, not that I'm like too worried about it, but I did want to bring up something that I did with the patrons' money not too long ago. I believe I did mention it on Already Dead. I thought it was kind of cool. Damn it, stupid. All right, let's see if I can find this stupid. Oh, there we go. All right, you guys can see this. Yep. All right. All right, I guess the caption here doesn't matter too much. This is a tweet, but I went on Connect essentially, and I sent out essentially a Hail Mary out to Candace Owens, and I told her, he said I figured throw a Hail Mary to the Queen, attempt to OKC pillar. I put Dave as a reference. That felt cringy, but I don't know. I'll show you what I said so you guys know. I feel like I very much was like a. What's the word I'm looking for? Like it felt very clout chasey, but it's like when you're talking to someone with a couple million followers and you literally only have like so many, what's the word I'm looking for? So many, damn it, what's the word for like letters? Like I don't know, you know what I mean? Like so many characters that I can use. I really had to, get something to catch your eye. So I said, sorry to hear about your YouTube issues. I understand that struggle all too well. Having dealt with many strikes and been demonetized as well, I'm contacting you about a story I've covered extensively on my show that I feel you would take to considering your recent interests. To give some bona fides, I've actually covered this topic on Dave Smith's show, whom I've also had on my show multiple times. Yes, that's where I started to feel gross, but it is what it is. Hey, I know she's homies with Dave. Kind of a little bit of a name drop. It is what it is. That's why I kind of put in the tweet something to kind of like, hey, Dave, kind of like, hey, I name dropped you. Like, be cool, man. Not that I really think he would talk shit. Dave's cool. He's a cool guy. I mean, I feel kind of gay name dropping him, but, kind of have to get their attention, especially like on a Connect. Like, and like if you're like on like Twitter or something, at least they can refer to you, like look at your page or whatever. And even then, even on Twitter with someone as large as her, she's not going to see me. So I went to Connect, like I said, this is $100 that I spent for this, which I mean, it sounds like a lot, but I think it's worth it. And you guys will see in a minute, she gave a reply. She was only obligated to reply via text, because that's the way Connect works, I guess. Like I pay, there's like depending on what you pay is what you get. But I guess she was, on her own decided to give a audio one. So there's an audio response that I'll play here in a second to kind of so you guys see what she has to say. But yeah, whom I've also had on my show multiple times. I've been on Timcast IRL multiple times. Yep, more of that gay shit. And I've worked with one of Tim Pool's journalists to write a piece on it. I want to be clear that I'm not asking to come on your show. I threw that in there because, for one, I felt kind of gross from the previous stuff. It came off like I was groveling for something. But in reality, all I'm really trying to do is, I guess, make something happen, or at least put this idea in her ear, because with the platform she has, it could really make a huge difference. I also just feel like the Yiki story is just kind of like right up her alley. That's just something she would love to cover. But yeah, I want to be clear. I'm not asking to come on your show. Like I said, I know many experts, firsthand sources, books, articles, etc. I can refer if interested. Because yeah, I mean, I don't know, whatever she wants to cover on her own. If she just wants some sort of her team or somebody wanted some sort of like Like, I'm not trying to like snag myself into like her inner social. I'm really just trying to get OKC on her mind. And this is this is exactly the kind of story I feel like for those who follow her, this would catch her ear. But yeah, the story is of Terrence Eakey, the first cop on scene of the Oklahoma City bombing, who died under extremely bizarre circumstances. His widow, who I recently interviewed for the first time in 20 plus years, and many others have always maintained he didn't kill himself. That's all I can fit, but I hope this sets you down this rabbit hole. It really is important. Yeah, I really wish I had way more characters, because I would have liked to have actually gone into Terry's story, but I really felt like if I had just given nothing but Terry's story, I would, and then not given her any sort of, like I said, bona fides, she probably would have been like, pfft. Like, I don't know, maybe just give me kind of like a, obviously I'm giving her money, she'd give me a nice answer, I'm sure. But I just really felt like that would be like, who the fuck is this guy telling me this crazy story? You know what I mean? Because like that's what I had to do when I heard about, when I saw Jinx's, saw Jinx's edit about Yeeky. That's what I had to do. I had to go look into it, because I was like, if anything, I was like, what? No way. Like this, it just seems like, even for me, as like jaded as I am against the government, I was more of a theory guy at that time. I still was like, what? They just like straight up just murdered this dude? And, then I look into it, I'm like, oh, geez, yeah, they did. So, I mean, that's kind of why I felt the need to give the bona fides, because otherwise I'm just some random dude giving a crazy story. So at least this way it's like, hey, there's some level of like, hey, I guess this is how you can verify it's not bullshit to some degree. That it's like, hey, I've talked to these people, been on these places, I've had, but so I don't know. Hopefully that does something, at least with this story. But I will show you. Let me see. And I just kind of added to that tweet, just kind of a Jinx thing. And all right, let's go over here. All right, here we go. And let's play her audio thing. Let me check in the chat real quick. Oh yeah, hit that thumbs up. Hit that, where the fuck did he go? I'm actually enjoying this setup. Casual living room Jose. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, not too bad, right? Yeah, just chilling at the, you have to talk like a politician. I don't even think I could make myself do it. Hit that thumbs up, faggots. Yes, definitely do that, guys. Good morning, Fire Pixie. Good morning. I can't see all ravens sing, but if you guys say good morning, I have to say good morning back. It's just polite. Got to do what you got to do. Name drop all you want, Jose. Understand. See, you guys get it. And this is partially what this is. It's just making myself feel better about being a homo. But it is what it is. Okay, all right, just more people shooting the shit. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this video, guys. Let me know if you can't hear it. But this is her response. I figured maybe you guys might be interested and get kind of an idea of maybe where this might go. I don't know. I'm not promising anything. Obviously, she didn't promise anything, but here we go.
That's what I needed, another rabbit hole. Man, oh man. All I can say is that this already passes the sniff test, because the more research that I do into bombings and serial killers, after having read that book Chaos and realizing that everything we were told about the Charles Manson murders was a lie and the CIA was involved, I'm starting to realize that all of these big events that we think are so evil and we think are just being executed by an individual were actually like military CIA operations, like MK Ultra, obviously. Timothy McVeigh was another MK Ultra patient, so to speak. And I have my suspicions that Jeffrey Dahmer was as well, given his proximity to the military. I think his dad was in the military. And then also he was going to like a university and receiving shots, like all of them were. So there does seem to be some sort of a pattern. And I would be very, very inclined to look into this. Actually, I am planning on doing a series next year, looking into kind of big events in America when I actually have my own platform. So I will definitely send myself down this rabbit hole. Darn you. My husband's going to be very upset. He's like, we don't need another rabbit hole. And I always think I do. So thank you.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty promising. It seems like she was receptive to it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess, I'm not really, getting too, I don't know, hopeful about it or anything, obviously. But I don't know. It just feels right. I mean, the Oklahoma City bombing is one of those things that does get overlooked a lot. But it's like literally the 9/11 before 9/11, and it's like, how many? I mean, how many times you can do 9/11? She's already done 9/11 a lot, so it's like at some point, like, and this seems like the perfect entry, Yiki. I mean, it's kind of like, and basically what I'm doing here is like, hey, I've done most of, like, pretty much all the work, so like I'm perfectly willing to pass off and be like, here's information, do something with this. Make it go live, essentially. I mean, I can only do so much with at my size. I mean, hopefully I continue to grow, and I appreciate you guys here for that. But I mean, to some extent, got to be realistic. But I think that's, I don't know. I think it's promising. I think we'll see if she looks into this later. And, if she's really trying to do a series, like, I'm being dead serious when I said before that I'm like not necessarily trying to get on there. If she wants to have me on the show, that's amazing. That'd be awesome. But I also, like, at the same time, I have to do what I think's best for the story. Now, like, let's say, for example, she's like, I want to do a friggin' series or multiple parts or even just like a really long podcast, like a 4-hour podcast, just really digging into it. And like, we'll go into sources, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, and then I'll be honest. I'd be like, I'm not the guy for you. Like, I feel like I'm fairly decent in stuff. I've read a lot of books. I've read The Aberration. I'm currently reading Bad Company. I've read the Hoffman book. I mean, I've read, the Roger Charles book, but it's like, I'm still no Richard Booth. And so it's like, if I want to do it right by the store, or even Wendy painting, although I'm not entirely sure how open Wendy would be to going on with Candace. So, I mean, but point being is, just whatever I can make happen, and ideally just whatever the best thing is for it. So like, yeah, if she wanted to like talk about the ARA or something, which is, the band of, bank robbing white supremacists that seem to be associated with it, it'd be like, probably not me. I mean, like I can, kind of like have a conversation about it, but like, if you're really trying to be like the authoritative, let's do a podcast on it, I'm not the guy. Like, I'm just not. Now, like, maybe with something like Geeky, I think I can be. I mean, there are definitely people better than me, but I guess that's probably my niche, if I have to be honest. But, overall, OKC, nah, that's not me. But yeah, like I said, I would like to just whatever I can make it happen. But yeah, either way, I guess for you guys, if you guys, harass her about it, I don't know. Not that she'd probably really ever see any of our posts. All right, let's go back to this real quick. I'll just go ahead and read my response. Thanks for the reply, real Candace O. There's definitely a lot of weirdness surrounding McVeigh's time in the military and claims of him visiting with Jolly West, who officially served a role in the aftermath of the Oklahoma City bombing. Highly recommend reading Aberration in the Heartland of the Real, The Secret Lives of Timothy McVeigh by Wendy Painting. Phenomenal piece of research, incredibly enthralling, and a great follow-up to Chaos. Yeah, I'm just trying to do my best to kind of like, use what little bit I can gather this and then kind of curtail it in the right direction. Not that I even think she saw that, but on the off chance she did, it's kind of like, hey, I recommended a book, and then everyone else I did too. I think that's probably like between that and Roger Charles's book, it really just depends on different flavors for different people. Because yeah, Roger Charles' book is Oklahoma City bombing, the investigation, what it missed, I think, something like that. Yeah, that one's more like, I think if you want to get someone who's not as receptive to the craziness of the this noided out world, I think you probably start him out with Roger Charles. That's probably the move. But if you have somebody like a Candace or something, or even like Lisa Pease, I had Lisa Pease on the show a while back, covering the RFK assassination, and she's read it, so like she's kind of like perfect. Like, here you go. I mean, not that she wouldn't like Roger Charles's book, but my point being is like, this is more like, you got to be somebody open to get into a little bit into the weirdness. Not to say that Wendy's book is at all, not factual or not based in proper research. It's just that there's research in there that you're like, whoa. Like, whoa. Which I think I'm going to bring up one of those. I tried to bring it up on the Oklahoma City or on the OKC archive on Libertarian Institute, but it seems to be acting up right now. So I don't know. I guess. But I do want to, give a shout out to that again, the libertarianinstitute.org/OKC. That's the archive, the best archive there is, really, for the Oklahoma City bombing. But I was just looking for the letter. I mean, there's multiple things that I could point to. I just figured to make a, kind of like to bookend off of this Candace talk. I figured, because she did, kind of seem to pinpoint the MK Ultra stuff and then right into MK and relating to McVeigh. So I figured I'd give at least an example, to kind of dig into this a little bit. I ended up finding just like a Reddit post, because it's kind of hard to find the original letter. But there is the I don't know. I'm just trying to find the original letter, but in the OKC archive was giving me issues earlier. Maybe I should have saved this for the next one, but whatever. But yeah, let's. I'm gonna bring this up real quick. Let's get rid of this. All right, present, share screen. Sorry. There we go. Reddit. Some Reddit posts. All right. Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh's letter to his sister printed in the New York Times, July 1st, 1998. So yeah, just so you know, this isn't some nonsense. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of nonsense in the New York Times, but give a little bit of credence for people who need someone to say, "Ooh, New York Times," to get them to buy into it. Same thing works for Yiki. For those who aren't aware, I think it was like a year ago or so. They covered it on CNN. Surprisingly, did a good job. There was not the TV, but like an article. They did an article on it. Thomas Lake wrote a piece on it. That's kind of what opened up a lot of this again. He technically got a little bit of a statement from Tanya for that. Then she talked to me later. So I guess, I don't know, depending on how you want to parse it, I guess I technically didn't get the first interview in over 20 years, but I think she literally just answered her phone and then didn't answer again after that. So I don't know. I don't think I'm going to count that one. But yeah, anyways, following excerpts from a letter dated October 20th, 1993, and written by Timothy J. McVeigh to his sister Jennifer McVeigh. The idiosyncrasies in spelling and punctuation are Mr. McVeigh's. Sorry if you heard that. That's my cats being assholes. Grandpa McVeigh saw this. He never knew why, but one day I showed up his door, freezing outside in only sweatpants and in total complete breakdown. Gramps, I'm sure, never told anyone about that day, and I respect him greatly for that. As I spent about an hour upstairs losing it, it was almost suicide at that point, but rage, but denial, but acceptance, all of these feelings were battling for control. Now here's what led to my current life. It all revolves around my arrival at Fort Bragg for Special Forces. We all took intelligence, psychological, adeptness, and a whole battery of other tests out of a group of 400. One day in formation, 10 Social Security numbers were called out, no names, and told to leave formation. Mine was one. The 10 of us were told that out of the selected group of 400, we had scored highest on certain tests. We had been selected because of our intelligence, physical makeup, 165 pounds, 6 foot, being ultimate warrior type. I was only slightly off, 160 pounds, 6 foot 1.5, which I actually would say, I probably agree with that. For those who aren't aware, I did 11 years active duty. I also was I failed out of SEER, which isn't technically Special Forces, but they go through a lot of the similar stuff and do a ton of, hell, everyone in my class failed out. So, that's how the degree to what is difficult. It's the same thing like EOD is very, very difficult to get into as well. There's a super duper high dropout rate, but it's technically not Special Forces. But point being is you're doing a lot of the same physical stuff and you're training around a lot of these guys. And yeah, point being is that is actually kind of, because you're not, like, a lot of people think like, super duper badass, like fucking huge yoked dude with like ripped with 5% body fats. If anything, that's not really the type of people that are going to be like spec ops guys. It's going to be usually maybe a little bit leaner, even maybe a little bit of pooch on them sometimes. But the kind of guys who can run a lot, swim a lot, ruck, which is like, putting like 70 pounds on your back for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles, no problem. It's more of an endurance thing. So, think about the kind of body type you're going to get out of something like that. It's not what people think of when they think of super duper badass that you see in movies and stuff. But yeah, we were to end physical abilities. We were to feel special, part of a hand-picked group. We were all asked to volunteer, talk about peer pressure, and to do some work for the government on the domestic as well as international front. What I learned next, both in the briefings and from the questions and private talks, included we would be helping the CIA fly drugs into the U.S. to fund many covert operations. Military consultants were to work hand in hand with civilian police agencies to quiet anyone whom was deemed a security risk. We would be government-paid assassins. Many other details. To verify these last two, see the enclosed article or watch, again, the movie Lethal Weapon. Gives you new insight on things like Waco, etc. They were murdered by hitmen. Yeah, by the way, I would recommend for those, it doesn't link right to the New York Times thing, so maybe it is kind of legit. Okay, all right, here you go. Oh, well, crap, I don't think it'll let me. Stupid thing. All right, you guys get the idea, though. Stop sharing. All right, we're coming back to it. Jose, show us your pussy. Yeah, I see you in there. I know everyone wants to see my cats. If you pay attention to the background, you can probably see some of them running around. Let's look at the chat a little bit. Yeah, I wanted to kind of, like I said, I would want to kind of dig into that. There are definitely other examples. For example, at the beginning of that, the thing he talked about with his grandpa, there's passages in Aberration of the Heartland are Real that go into that. There's definitely. So I can't remember the specifics on it to kind of back up those claims, but yeah, there definitely seems like, and for those who aren't aware, as he mentioned in here, he said he went to Special Forces or whatever, and then they pulled him aside to be like kind of an off the books super duper warrior type thing. Now I do want to reiterate, it is official narrative stuff that he did go to Special Forces, but he failed is the official narrative. Obviously, according to this letter that he wrote to his sister. He claimed that that was not the case. That he actually ended up being selected for the super duper Special Forces whatever. And the whole idea is that he was sheep dipped. He was forced to officially drop out of the military, because it is around the time when he got out of the military. Is when that around this time is after the failing Special Forces. He I forget the exact details if he went back to his home base or how that worked, but he was basically on the out at that point. He did not want to stick around any longer, and he ended up going to the Guard. Yeah, the Guard. And this is where a lot of this stuff happened while he was still technically in the Guard. I think he left the Guard, shortly before the maybe a couple of years before the Oklahoma City bombing. He got let loose from the Guard. But he came back. He got, according the unofficial narrative, according to this letter, he got sheep dipped, came back home, and then he was in some Guard unit. But the official narrative, which is that he dropped out, failed, and then he, then decided to leave of his own volition, and then he ended up joining the Guard when he got out of active duty. So I don't know, believe which what do you want, I guess. I mean, obviously all we really seem to have to back up the sheep dipped thing is him saying that. So I don't know, do with that what you will. Obviously he's not the best source of information, but it is weird he would even say this. If I recall correctly, I believe this letter is even from like 93 or something. So it was, it was printed in the New York Times on July 1st, 1998, but when it was written, oh yeah, here you go, from October 20th, 1993. Yep. So this was years before, so it'd be weird. I mean, I guess maybe he's just a compulsive liar. I don't know. But yeah, for those who are interested in like kind of the life of McVeigh, the Aberration of the Heartland Real really goes into the specifics of, his life before the Oklahoma City bombing and after as well. But it's definitely a lot of weirdness. So I don't think this really should be scoffed off as ridiculous that this happened, especially since around that time, that's when they were doing things like PatCon. Wendy does a really good job in her book of kind of going into how PatCon actually worked in association with other like the National Guard, for example, and other units. It was kind of like it wasn't like PatCon was like an FBI op, I believe, essentially. But it seemed to work in conjunction with a lot of other agencies, so it wasn't just simply a FBI thing. It was there was definitely tie-ins with the National Guard, and apparently the Guard has a unique situation in which I guess if you were going to sheep dip someone and you wanted to put them in some sort of unique, weird legal spot to where I guess to kind of like a CYA for the government with you doing domestic things, because you can't do that. Like the military, like there's, I forget how it works. You can't do certain domestic things. Like that's kind of the whole point. But now if you're in the Guard, different story. I mean, they work for the states. So I don't know. Point being, there's definitely other. I just want to provide one example that kind of went into the hey, is there something to the MK Ultra? Obviously, this doesn't speak specifically to MK Ultra. This speaks to shady Fed stuff. But so from the MK Ultra side, I mean, as I mentioned in that tweet, there's Jolly West was working on like the aftermath of the Oklahoma City bombing. He was part of some sort of like trauma crew or something, helping out people deal with their trauma, which is spooky. If you know his background, his whole thing is manipulating trauma towards, the government's ends, essentially, with MK Ultra and such. So that's weird. But also a lot of people don't know, on the defense team, working for the defense team, was a psychologist who was one of Jolly West's pupils. So that's interesting. They're also during McVeigh's time in the military. After the special forces thing, he had an insane amount of like dental visits and other weird things, like something ridiculous, like over 30 in a year. So there's a lot of weird things. Or like, what is going on with this guy? Like, who has 30 dental visits in a year? I believe there's also more weirdness to that too, where he like later denied that he even had dental visits, but then and like seemed to believe it. Also, like as I mentioned, with that letter where he's talking about his grandpa, there's more to that where it seems like there were statements or things that seemed to imply he was having a mental breakdown around that time, and seemed to be implying there was something really heavy that he couldn't talk about that he was being asked to do and that he just didn't feel like he could do. So I don't know. I mean, add tune to. Now, does this mean this stuff's legit? No idea. All right. Well, I guess that's enough for, spooking out on OKC. Let's pop it back into the chat, see what you guys have to say. Yeah, somebody said, will Candace ever name the J? I actually don't think she's necessarily wrong. I mean, she might be a little bit over schizo about it, but with her Sabbatain thing, I've gone down the Sabbatain rabbit hole a little bit, and there might be something to that. I don't know. That's awesome. She sounds very open to it. Yeah, that's the vibe I got. Let me see. Corbett actually report is a good thing on Terrence Hickey, Requiem of the Suicide. They're all pretty good. Gary Webb, Terrence trying to do. I think he may be messed up in there. Oh, see, so there's a kitty right there. There, you guys see it? There's a kitty. Corbett report has a good thing on Terrence. Yeah. I didn't see his Gary Webb one. I'm assuming you're saying you did a trying to do one as well. I believe I saw the Yeeky one forever ago. I'll have to check out those. Because yeah, he's generally pretty good. I don't have any issues with Corbett. He's cool. He might do an interview. You could wrestle. Who is this? He might do an interview with you. You could request on his website. Maybe. I don't know who you're talking about. Are you talking about Corbett? Oh yeah, maybe. I haven't really tried. But I've never really tried to hunt him down to have him on. I think he's big into like Israel stuff these days, isn't he? I think so. Maybe that might be good to. I'm more of like a topics guy. You guys know that now. Yeah, Sear is what Grand Therm was. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, technically that Sear's not like Spec Ops, although they do work with Spec Ops a lot. Honestly, that's probably, I mean, it sounds retarded, but when I first joined, I was a hoorah retard and was like wanting to be super duper special forces guy. I'm kind of lucky but I have bad vision. So you guys saw in the last stream, I had glasses, so I wasn't able to do anything other than Sear. Sear was like the coolest thing I could do. And yeah, I failed out of that. So, I mean, but part of what made it, I'll be honest, part of what made it hard to keep pushing through was when I found out that Sear wasn't really Spec Ops. It definitely got sold to me by my recruiter as like, you're going to be super duper badass doing Spec Ops shit. And like, I guess there's like a grain of truth to that. From my understanding, some of those Sear guys do work with those guys, but usually they're more of like in a consulting type of role is my understanding. So I don't know, you get super duper trained up to be really super duper cool with Sear and be able to survive anywhere, and all you end up doing is being an instructor, maybe do some semi cool stuff, but never really like the ops guy, which I guess now, I mean, now I'm glad I didn't, end up being the super duper ops guy, because that's not really what I want now. But at the time, being young, dumb, and full of cum, I was really wanting to go kill some Hajis to protect my country, because that's what I thought protected my country, because I was that fucking stupid. But yeah, things were easier to cover up in the 90s and early 2000s and before that. What the hell are they doing? I don't know, somebody just fucked up something somewhere. All right. Well, that was loud. I don't know if you guys heard that. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that's what makes the Oklahoma City bombing interesting, is that, the timing. Well, maybe obviously there's a lot that makes it interesting, but I think the timing of it and like being as it happened in like the mid 90s, I think like the recording technology and all that sort of stuff was there, but the disbursement abilities that we have now, like where I can tweet something out and it goes out to so many people, we didn't have that now. So being able to like kind of coalesce all this different information into a meaningful, case that enters the public consciousness is definitely a lot harder to do. Look at this dickhead behind me. What is he about to do? All right. Oh, he's still doing it anyways. You don't care. Sorry, I didn't mean to hiss into the mic. I hope that wasn't too unpleasant. But yeah, so I think now we're coming to this age where this information is becoming easier to archive and put together in meaningful ways. And so that's what I think makes it ready to pop. Is like, that's why I think OKC's time is now with the next few years. That Las Vegas shooting seems weird too. Seems best theory is there was a firearm deal / assassin attempt on Saudi royal, but why did they shoot innocent people? I don't know. That one is crazy. Yeah, I don't have a read on that one. The Vegas shooting just something weird. I don't know. I feel like even the Saudi thing might be off. I don't. There's just so much we don't know. It doesn't seem to make sense. It's one of those ones I don't know if we'll ever even know anything close to the official story in that. I don't know. Oh, yeah, the Vegas shooting was a bunch of people wrangled in a prison yard and shot at. Ketamine used to be used. Sorry, I had to yell at that cat. He's pissing me off. Ketamine used to be used for some dental work as a dissociative. It's used in MKU. Ketamine is useful. Help me with my depression. Yeah, I've heard that people say that it's great for depression. But I guess, yeah, if you abused it, it could definitely... yeah. All right. All right, stop going. Conditioning says a lot of people stop going to concerts, large events. Not the... Seems a bit ridiculous, but I don't know, maybe not. I mean, that was like shortly before. I don't remember the exact when the Vegas shooting happened, but I want to say it was before COVID craziness. So I guess that would make sense as a primer. So that I mean, I don't know. I guess if you want to get super schizo, yeah, you could buy into that. All right, let's I got a few Israel stories for y'all, or I can do one more spooky FBI contractor thing with let me see. Let's see how long this one is real quick. I'll scroll through it. Let's read through let's end on a super fucked up note with Israel, but we'll cover this real quick. Let's go into share screen. No punishment. Here we go. All right, I got another Ken article for y'all. This is me just basically taking time to go through my Ken articles and doing it with you guys. No punishment for FBI contractor who stole agent's vehicle after hearing coded messages. What is the most disturbing and troubling? Oh, I'm not going to read that because that'll probably be in the article. But all right, let's read through this, guys. On February 6th, an FBI contractor stole an agent's vehicle and drove it to the terrorist screening center in Vienna, Virginia, doing so after purportedly hearing coded messages. 3 days later, the contractor, John Conrad Worrell III, was out of jail, and in July, he was given a deferred prosecution agreement. All of this coming after the Justice Department initially deemed him a danger to the community, according to records reviewed by Headline USA. Instead of being punished, Worrell was ordered to undergo mental health treatment with Stephanie Hughes of Dynamic Emotional Wellness. He was also ordered to stay away from FBI HQ and the terrorist screening center in Vienna. The details of Worrell's case are bizarre. According to this FBI criminal complaint, Worrell heard coded messages before committing his crime. All right, there's a thread that Ken made, or maybe it might just be just this. I feel like I saw this earlier and I thought it was a thread. So if you guys are interested in his Twitter post, go check that out. I'm not going to read the Twitter post. Worrell believed he had been receiving coded messages which appeared in various forms, including emails, stage whispering, and a variety of different context clues over the course of several weeks, indicating that Worrell was in danger and thus he was attempting to go to a secure facility where he could be safe, the FBI's criminal complaint said. All right, keep in mind this guy's an FBI contractor, because I was just thinking about this as I was reading it, and it was bringing to mind Wendy's in this book, you guys can see Aberration in the Heartland of the Real. There is a whole bunch of, like, in a giant MK Ultra section. There's also a section that kind of goes into, like, I guess MK Ultra tech, I guess you could say, almost would be the way to put it. Kind of, I guess, I don't know if there's much of a difference between the two, really, because and it kind of goes into these sort of things like ELF, which is, what was it? I forget what that stand for. Kind of like certain light, frequencies. That's what it was. Extra low frequency, I think is what that one was, or something like that. The idea that, they could hit a certain frequency and kind of, essentially speak in your head and shit like that. And there also was, this kind of ties into the dental stuff we were talking about with McVeigh. There were actual, if I recall correctly, I actually believe there was a documented case of someone who had like a bugging device in a dental implant, or maybe it was one of those, it was either a documented case of someone having it, or it was a case where the feds were working on it, like a research program. It's well documented in that book. There's a whole bunch of weird stuff that the government has researched insofar as like messing around in your head or finding ways to put messages in you. And the point being, I bring up with the FBI contractor because this is somebody they would may have access to in medical situations prior to this. So. Because, like, obviously just some dude off the street, this is why I brought up the tech angle, because it's like there's implants, there's other things they can do. Now, when you get into, like, things like I mentioned with the ELF, now, technically, I don't think you actually need, any sort of tech, or obviously other than the tech that's doing the ELF, but you don't need access to the individual beforehand in some sort of medical situation to implant or whatever. So that's freaky in the idea that they can do that to literally anyone. Now, being FBI contractor, it makes it a little bit more possible, and that, like, there could be implants or something like that. So that's why I bring that up, the contractor side of thing. If we're going down this, weird rabbit hole, gives a little bit more credence. Either way, it's still crazy, but I mean, it is something. These are things that have happened. These are research programs that the feds have, the government, the CIA has what's not fundraised, has supported, that they've done, they paid for. So, I mean, are they using it? I don't know. I mean, it'd be weird. You'd think it'd be weird to create these things and not use them. I mean, I can't recommend that book high enough because there is so much in there that's freaky. It does make you a little bit schizo of like, oh my God, what are they doing? I mean, obviously then you see stories like this and you're like, Jesus Christ. All right, motivated by these coded messages, Worrell allegedly took the vehicle, a dark green four-door Ford sedan, from FBI HQ around 12:26 on February 6th. He then drove to Vienna and arrived at another FBI facility about 90 minutes later, the complaint said. Once he was at the Vienna facility, Worrell identified himself as the agent he stole the car from, the complaint said. Worrell claimed to have a classified meeting at the Vienna FBI facility. When Worrell was unable to provide FBI access cards that matched the victim's agent's identity, Worrell was denied access to the facility and directed to the park in a nearby visitor lot. Vienna Police Department arrived at the FBI facility at approximately 3:02 p.m. Worrell allegedly admitted his theft soon after. Later, when interviewed by the FBI, Worrell told agents about hearing the coded messages. Worrell was arrested on February 6th, and the DOJ pushed for Worrell to remain in prison pending trial, writing a 10-page, partially redacted detention memo. Okay, redactions. That's immediately perks up my ears. On February 8th, that argued he was a danger to the community. What is the most disturbing and troubling is that the defendant stated that he had been receiving coded messages in various forms, including emails that indicated that he was in danger, and therefore was attempting to go to a secure facility where he could be safe, the DOJ said in the memo. But at Worrell's detention hearing the very next day, prosecutors made an oral motion to have him released, which was granted. No transcript or script or other records exist in the federal court docket that would explain the decision to release him. For the next several months, a judge continually loosened Worrell's conditions of release, allowing him to go to his brother-in-law's wedding in Annapolis in March and removing the curfew requirement so he could leave his home overnight so that it could be staged and shown by his real estate agent. So, all right. Then Worrell was given a deferred prosecute agreement in July. It's unclear whether he's still a contractor for the FBI or any other federal agency. He did not return an email from this author-seeking comment. The FBI didn't immediately respond to an email about his employment status. All right, that's wild. So so just to encapsulate this, as Ken puts here, FBI contractor steals an agent's car from headquarters, drives it to the terrorist screening center in Vienna, doing so after hearing coded messages. He was then let out of jail 3 days later and given zero punishment. There you go. I mean, obviously, there's nothing we could do with it. And there's a bunch of redactions in some of the legal side of things. So, all right. Interesting. I don't know. I don't know if Tyler is still in the chat. Maybe he has some thoughts on this. I sure don't. Let's pop back in the chat, see what you guys have to say. Yeah, that one's wild. see what other things we have in here. Wandering sheeps get their legs broke. What kind of weird esoteric thread is this? Waiting for the car to get out of the. Okay, they're talking in the chat. All right. Oh yeah, y'all hear about Congress's mass casualty bill just in time for the election? Mass power outages probably during winter. I don't know, maybe. I mean, they did have that that Obama movie that came out recently. So I don't know that the one where everything went down. I mean, who knows? Are they going to go with an old reliable, like a federal building explosion or something? We'll find out. I don't know. Something's going on. We're like a month out from the election. We're due for this October surprise. It's October 1st right now, so. We'll see. October surprise incoming. Oh, it's not esoteric. It's farmer shit. It sounds like a weird threat. Yeah. All right. Well, let's go through some Israel stories real quick, and then we'll get out of here. These will probably be a little bit shorter, probably in the 45 minutes to an hour range is what the goal is. Just kind of like a quick pop-in stream, talk to you guys. Nothing too crazy. I guess it depends on how much I have to say. But yeah, let's see. All right, you guys remember, before we get into this, you guys remember what's going on in the wide world of Israel. Recently we had the beepers thing that happened, that weird fucking, coordinated beeper explosions that, killed like not many people, but then like injured thousands. So it was like just kind of going off all over the place, in public settings, which, I mean, hey, mass casualty event right there. I guess no, you wouldn't say mass casualty, but either way, that's just straight up terrorism. Imagine that happening in any major city in the United States. That's insane. We would be incredibly outraged. And then to add insult to injury on top of that, I don't know if it was the next day or when, it was shortly after, they leveled something over like 5 apartment buildings, over 5. I don't remember the exact number, but it was more than 5. They leveled a bunch of buildings in Beirut in Lebanon. I don't remember exactly what kind of firearms they were, or not firearms, but ordinances they were, but they flattened the shit out of something over 5 apartment buildings in the heart of Beirut, and took out their main guy. Or actually, I don't even know if they did. That's still like up in the air, I think. Initially, for a while, they were like, we don't know if we got him or not. And then now they're saying they did. I don't know how you would even prove that when you flatten a building, other than like, I guess the Hezbollah people being like, oh, we haven't seen him in a while. I guess maybe that's the most dependable thing. I don't fucking know. Either way, it's like they freaking flattened a bunch of apartment buildings in the heart of Beirut after just setting off a bunch of mini explosions all through Lebanon, and I believe I want to say Syria as well, because that was like a Hezbollah coordinated thing, and there were multiple places. But either way, it was terrorism followed by even crazier terrorism, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, the Nasrallah or whatever, head of Hezbollah, I mean, not the greatest guy, but it's also like, what kind of world is this where it's like we can just level multiple, killed probably dozens, if not hundreds of people on the off chance one dude happens to be in that building, which they didn't seem too confident he was in that building. Like, even if we could say 100% chance he was in that building, like, does that mean you can fuck you and everyone within a fucking quarter mile of you? Like, dude, what the hell? Like, what is this? What kind of world are we in? And it's like, cool, they took out Hezbollah, but like, what does this mean? Like, is it like, I don't know. I really think we're going to be seeing a paradigm shift over time with Israel. Now, what does this paradigm shift look like? Does this mean we use up all our goodwill, what little goodwill we have, I guess, and our power by becoming economically hauled out while trying to support these fucks? I mean, I've seen someone say that like maybe Israel in the fall of this will become one of the other, world superpowers while we kind of recede into nothingness. So they're almost like parasitically existing off of us, because, now they're in a point to where they've kind of fucked over all the people around them. There's not really a lot these people can do. It seems like Iran might be kind of a bit of a paper tiger, possibly, or at least they look like it. I don't know. I mean, I guess the question is, though, I guess it's a good time to bring up, 1 second, let me bring up something else for you guys that kind of ties into this. Actually, it definitely ties into it. All right. Breaking 57 Arab and Muslim countries offer Israel a peace deal, guaranteed security in exchange for a Palestinian state and an end of occupation. The Jordanian FM, I don't know what FM stands for, expresses the Arab world is ready for peace, but Israel refuses. So we'll play this real quick, which, I mean, I'm glad that these guys are offering peace, but the flip side of this is these guys are coming together. So what does this mean where peace is slapped down? Like, are these people really going to accept being Israel's bitches forever? I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's play this video real quick.
I want to add one sentence. The Israeli Prime Minister came here today and said that Israel is surrounded by those who want to destroy it, an enemy. We're here, members of a Muslim Arab committee mandated by 57 Arab and Muslim countries. And I can tell you here, very unequivocally, all of us are willing to, right now, guarantee the security of Israel in the context of Israel ending the occupation and allowing for the emergence of a Palestinian state, independent state, along the efforts that will agree. He is creating that danger because he simply does not want the two-state solution. And if he does not want the two-state solution, can you ask the Israeli officials, what is their end game? Other than just wars and wars and wars. I'm telling you, all of us in the Arab world here, we want a peace in which Israel lives in peace and security, accepted, normalized with all Arab countries in the context of ending the occupation, withdrawing from Arab territory, allowing for the emergence of an independent, sovereign Palestinian state on June 4, 1967, lies with occupied Jerusalem as capital. That is our narrative. That is, and we will guarantee Israel's security in that context. Can you ask Israelis what's their narrative other than I'm going to continue to go to war, I'm going to kill this and kill that and destroy this and this that? The amount of damage that Israeli government has done, 30 years of efforts to convince people that peace is possible, this Israeli government killed it. The amount of dehumanization, hatred, bitterness will take generations to navigate through. So ultimately the question is, we want peace. And we've laid out a plan for peace. Ask any Israeli official, what is their plan for peace? You'll get nothing because they're only thinking of the first step. We're going to go destroy Gaza, inflame the West Bank, destroy Lebanon. And after that, they have no plan. We have a plan. We have no partner for peace in Israel. There is a partner for peace in the Arab world.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's like I said, the flip side does make you wonder what the hell's going to go on. Yeah, did y'all know that DNA tests are illegal in Israel? Wow, I wonder why. It's almost like these are a bunch of Europeans or some shit. I guess Grey Pilled might be going live around 5 or 6, just for those who know or who are paying attention. If you guys want to pop into that, check him out. I don't know what he's talking about today. But yeah, look into that. A couple hours before we do Already Dead, which we will be doing that at 9:30 tonight. Emily brought up Philadelphia move. Philadelphia PD dropped a literal bomb. Yeah, that one was pretty wild. I don't remember enough of the details of that, but yes, they literally dropped a bomb, from my understanding, on some, I believe it was an apartment building that was taken over supposedly by some sort of, inner city gang or something, which that one is wild. So yeah, I guess there's precedent for them doing this crazy shit. All right, so we got that. We got the peace deals, and then this will be got a couple more things for you. Let me see. Yeah. All right. Yesterday, Biden answers no when he's asked if he'll deploy more troops to the Middle East. Today, Pentagon announced. Yesterday. So this was yesterday. Yesterday, the 30th of September, Pentagon announces that more U.S. troops are being deployed to the Middle East. Somebody's running the country, and it's definitely not Joe Biden. Yeah, the Associated Press, the U.S. is sending a few thousand more troops to the Middle East to boost security. And here's a little video. I'm not going to play it, but I'm assuming it's some journalist asking him, hey, if we're going to deploy more troops. And he goes, no. And then, yeah. So, whatever. We all know this guy isn't running things, so it doesn't really fucking matter. But yeah, it is wild that they're sending more troops over there. It seems like this could easily get out of hand, but I don't know, whatever. We'll fucking we'll destroy this country just to protect Israel. It's like, what is it? What is it? They say that, and we have plans drawn up in the case of like nukes to be able to collect taxes, is what I've heard before. Probably the same thing with Israel. So even no matter how bad this country goes, it seems like Israel's going to get supported. So I don't know. Hopefully at I don't know what point that pendulum swings to where even we can get to politicians stop sucking off Israel, but I don't know. I don't think we've gotten there yet. I don't know. It is what it is. And then last thing. There we go. Just in, Israel's officially launched a ground invasion in Lebanon. So there you go. This was yesterday, in the afternoon. So yeah, I guess now Israel's fucking with Lebanon some more. So which I do believe, if I recall correctly, Lebanon is part of Greater Israel, which for those who don't know anything about that, there's a Google search for you and a fun little rabbit hole of like, yo, what the hell? That'll take you, that's a rabbit hole that can take you dozens of hours to go through. Highly recommend a Martyr Made series on the founding of Israel. It might give you a little bit more of a better idea. Or Sheldon Richman's Coming to Palestine book, I believe, if I recall, does kind of go into these concepts of kind of what drives Israel insofar as acquiring land and what land they want to grab. So yeah, it's wild. I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly too, before this whole this ground invasion thing, they were already saying they weren't allowing, Israel was essentially not allowing flights into, it may have just been Beirut. I doubt it was all of Lebanon, but either way, it's still just this idea that they're going to, because for one, this was like, these were all targeted attacks on Hezbollah, which, don't get me wrong, I don't know Lebanon's official stance on Hezbollah, but it's not, Lebanon and Hezbollah are separate entities. So the idea that you're going to be able to go to a sovereign nation and we're supposed to have these laws, amongst nations, I'm pretty sure that's breaking one, that you're just going to fucking, discriminately commit violence in like high populated areas. These are like civilized places. I don't know. Yeah, this isn't like some mud hut shit that everyone seems to think like, oh, we'll just blow up some fucking Hajis. Like, no. Yeah, go to Google, go type in Beirut, see what comes up. You'll see what that place looks like. It's literally feels like it. I don't know. It seems like no different than if they dropped bombs in like Tampa or some shit. Shit. Like there's parts of Tampa that Beirut looks better than. So does that mean they get to get bombed? I don't know. Wild world we live in. All right, guys, I'm going to start wrapping up out of here. I totally forgot to give a shout out. He's coming back on. Where the hell? I'm trying to bring it up. Where is it? I got my homie Nado. So if he's bringing him back on this month. So go to nadoshaveco.com. Use Jose at checkout. This is good stuff. Look at that thing. Look at that beautiful thing. The thing is slick as hell. I use it to edge up my beard. I use it to shave my neck. Use it to shave it off when usually about once a month or so. When this is getting a little fuzzy, I'll shave. Somebody said I was looking like Wolverine. I usually do by the end of the month, and I shave it all off because I grow in kind of patchy, and the thicker it gets, the more the patch bugs me. So yeah, it is. I highly recommend it. It's look at that little pack below it. That thing has like something like 100 razors in there. That thing lasts forever. But yeah, cheap stuff. And I don't mean cheap quality wise. It's great quality. I highly recommend it. But yeah, I forgot to bring up the ad read stuff other than that. So my bad. I'll do a better ad read tonight. Sorry, Nado. Forgot to bring that up. But this is just a on the fly stream. I'll have my material prepared a little bit better next time. But yeah, and then she says parts of Houston. I'm assuming you're kind of saying the same thing with like, comparing Beirut to other places and, kind of trying to equate it to our mind of the idea that like, I don't know, you have all these stupid Zionists cheering this shit on. And it's like, dude, like think about if you applied that to your country, like, would we be cool with this? Like, shit, we freaked the fuck out when they flattened a friggin' couple towers. And then just over in Beirut, they fucking, I guess the death toll is, I believe, if I recall correctly, is quite a bit lower than 9/11, but still, point being is they just flattened fucking multiple apartment buildings. So it's like, I feel like these are fairly comparable. Like, what the fuck? Even if you were like, well, Haji Abertaj, Muhammad Jihad was in one of the two towers, I'm not gonna be like, well, that's okay then. Like, all right. Yeah, no, I agree. Fuck them all and worry about USA. Yeah, that's my thing. I actually am very much like, stop fucking supporting these guys. Like, you're in. What, my Jose's pronunciation of Beirut? What am I supposed? Is it supposed to be Beirut? Okay, I don't know. I always thought the T was silent, or maybe I pronounced it retarded earlier. I think I did almost pronounce it retarded earlier. But yeah, let me see. All right, I do want to remind you guys, if you do want to support the show, patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. give a shout out to the sponsors real quick. I know Toad's one of my sponsors. Follow him at Twitter at TowerGangToad. They also have, oops, sorry, I'm scrolling through my stuff. I also have at Abrogate D's. You can follow him at ZOVERACK at _Infinite Zeal. Jacob Daniel of the Biblical Anarchy Podcast. Follow him at Biblical Anarchy. Then Tim Tuttle at Jolly on Klebold. Will Bell makes that delicious blueberry wine called Rabbit Eye Wine. You can get that online, I believe, in most states, so go check that out. I appreciate everyone showing up. If you got any thoughts, drop them in the comments. Maybe so much as format, maybe titling. I don't know. I'm just willing to take. I feel like maybe I'm still like on the edge. Like, is this going to be intelligible for someone listening only in audio? Oh, you got Emily saying it's Beirut. I always thought the T was silent. All right, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this will go up in the audio podcatchers or not. I think I might. I don't know. I kind of almost feel bad putting this to the audio listeners when a lot of this is visual. But I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell. Maybe it'll work. We'll find out. Complain about it if you don't like it. If you just want this just to be streams, so only people show up or go to the YouTube or Rumble, get to experience it. You let me know. Yeah. With that, let's go ahead and get out of here. Thanks everyone who showed up. Bye bye.